Alright, so this video is going to be me making a couple, I don't know if you want to call them keystone bases for a couple headstones or slotted bases for headstones. I don't know what you want to call it. Whatever you call it, I'm making them. So I got these forms made down there, and I'll be pouring concrete in there. And those wooden things in the middle are going to be a slot where an opening where the tablet type headstone will fit down into. So let's move this for a minute. So the styrofoam represents a tablet type headstone that's about 10 inches wide and 2 inches thick, and I don't know how tall, maybe 16 inches. And so I'll pour this concrete, that'll be a slot in there, and that will fit down in there. And I make this go all the way to the bottom, but I'll fill about halfway full of aggregate, pea gravel or something, to let water drain out if water gets in that slot so it doesn't freeze and thaw and make things crack. So that'll fit down in there. And it probably won't stand up. Let's try this side. Look there. So that'll fit down in there. And that'll give room for the people to mow around it without banging into it and hopefully breaking it. So I want it to set up a little bit. So about 2 inches down. So hopefully if it does get knocked into, it will give a little bit and not just break. So that's the recommended way of doing things. Some people just embed those down in concrete, and then concrete is harder than the marble. So if it gets banged into, the marble will snap. And there's some over at the cemetery where I'm working at that have broke off. So I got to see about maybe get some epoxy and gluing those back together. So we'll see what happens. Alright, so okay, so what tools do I need? I got this here to mix up some concrete. Now, later, I got a bigger one. And I don't have them, but there's some bigger tablets that are about 18 inches wide, 2 inches thick. So I'll need a bigger base like this. Now when I make a base like this, I'm going to have to do that over at the cemetery, because when I'm done with that, it'll weigh about 200 pounds, 150 to 200 pounds, and I won't be able to maneuver that because I'm getting old and torn rotator cuffs and all types of other problems. Something this small will probably weigh about 50 to 60 pounds, and I should be able to move those just fine. So a bag of concrete 60 pounds, and so if you look at it, about one bag should be to make each of those. So got my tools here. Got a little shovel for whatever. I got a float, a trowel that didn't get cleaned off last time somebody used it, an edging tool, 2 pairs of gloves, don't want to get blisters. Got this old cushion out of a 73 Dodge that I can stoop on so I don't hurt my kneecaps, and got my bags of concrete. And then, just if anybody's watching this is not the mortar mix I'm using for the slot. The mortar mix I'm using is actually going to be lime and sand, not Portland cement. So people say, oh, you can't use Portland cement because that won't give and it's going to ruin everything. I know that. So I got lime mortar. It's in my shed. Here's my shed. So anyhow, I think that wraps up this part. So we'll continue this in a little bit. Alright, it's about somewhere between a half hour and 45 minutes later. I mixed up the concrete. I got it in the forms. And what I should have did was spray some WD-40 on the outside of these inserts, because those pop out, and then the tablet headstone will fit down in there. But I was in a hurry, forgot to do that. So I put those screws in there, so I got something to hang on to so I can kind of pull them up. and they were kind of hard to get out. I want to bring them all the way out because it's still green. I don't want it to kind of cave in. So I'll wait about another 10 minutes and wiggle them out just a little bit more. And I won't take them all the way out till I'm ready to go inside, probably. I ran the edger around the outside once, but it's still kind of early. So I gotta do that again. And then I'll take a small brush, probably just a paintbrush or something, and put a little bit of texture in it, not too much. It's not a sidewalk, so it's not like people are gonna be walking on it, be slippery. But I'm not real good at finishing concrete, so by putting the little brush marks, it'll hide the imperfections that I got in there. And yeah, so it took about 1 3/4 bags of concrete for these two. So they're probably 45 to 50 pounds a piece. I'll be able to pick those up and take them to the cemetery, then dig out a chunk of sod, put pea gravel down, put the tombstones in there, and then put mortar around them to embed it in there. And then I'll work on some other ones. So like I said, the other ones are bigger. That's 18 by 22, I think. So that's for some bigger ones that I got. And I'll have to do those in place over there at the cemetery because I won't be able to pick those up. If I possibly could, I could move them around with a 2-wheel cart, but to get it in and out of the truck would be a problem. And I don't want to like drop them and break them because I'll let this sit for like 2 days probably before I try moving them around. And yeah, so I'll continue this. I'll follow this all the way through, all the way to the cemetery, to the finished product. You can see how it turns out. It is the next day. So been about 14 hours, and I took the one form off, and it doesn't look too bad. I gotta do a better job at getting down, packing that concrete down around the form. So I'm about ready to take the other form off. Still a little green, obviously. I mean, it takes concrete. Well, I think it, some people says it cures forever, but I think it's okay to move today. I'd like to go over to the cemetery, get these first two installed, and so I can get moving and create a couple more. So I got 2 more, got the forms built and everything. So be working on that later today, getting those poured. So I'm gonna take these over this morning, get them installed, and go from there. So I'll dig a hole, and then I got some buckets of pea gravel that were donated to me, and a chunk of wire in there. But I'll dig out and put that down as a base, get that level, and then put those slotted bases in and put the headstones in and go from there and see how it looks. Gonna keep you updated. Alright, I made it over to the Round Grove Cemetery, and I got 2 slotted bases I'm going to be using. So this headstone here belonged to a 3-year-old little girl named Sarah Green, and you can't hardly read that, but I was able to look up the record and I could see that it was Green, died 1863. I can't read that. I'm going to try to clean this up before I fix it. So it was right here and it tipped over. So I think her parents over there, John Green, there's John Green there, and it's a military stone here. So I'm gonna get this one ready first, and then I have to look at my notes to see where the second one goes. It may go way over there. Keep you updated. So, gotta get started here. Alright, so I got a string stretched down. So you can tell these headstones actually will move over time as the ground freezes and thaws. It's really bad over there where the hill is, because the hill slowly moves. But anyhow, I got a string in there, and I look at it, it looks crooked, but it's even with the string, so I'm going to double check that. So I got it level. I've got my regular level. I got this post level, but it seems to work. I'm just a little bit off, so I'm going to adjust that just a tiny bit. I do have pea gravel that I'm using. I actually prefer crushed limestone, so road rock basically, because it packs down better. And I got that 4x4 I use to tamp it down. So the pea gravel, when you try to tamp it down, it actually just kind of moves. It doesn't pack. But it's what I got for now, and it should be fine. So once I get it packed down, once I get it some gravel packed around it, it should be fine. But underneath it's just, I couldn't find a base. I have a metal rod. I probed around thinking that maybe it sunk down over time, so I thought maybe there's a base to it, but there's not. If I look over here, well, somewhere there was a spot where it looked like there was oh, maybe it was down here. Oh, well, it's totally obvious something broke off here. And like, this is a fresh break. So the lawnmower people, I talked to them once before, and they said they'd be careful. But that break and another break, they snapped the headstone completely off over that way somewhere. It totally snapped, and I could tell it was brand new because it was laying on top of the grass, and the grass looks like it'd been laying there for like less than a week, the way the grass had been dying off. So this is actually another one that I'm gonna be working on. I got the form built for it and everything, and that was tipped over, and I leaned it up. You can tell where it was like laying. But today we're working on this one. There's one that's totally laying flat, kind of buried. I might dig around that, see how big it is, see if it's broke. So there's just weeks and weeks and probably years, never-ending process. But I don't know, after I get going, maybe it inspire a few other people to help out. So anyhow, that's an update for this moment. All right, I got that level. This is the slotted stone. You can tell that it's pretty dirty, so it was like laying in the dirt. And I gotta sit on a bucket, otherwise I tip it over and I can't do it with one hand. The inscription's on the back, or the other side. So I'm gonna clean this before I put it in there, let it dry a little bit. While that's drying, I might go off and work on another one. So I think what I did, I got 4 stones that I'm got in my agenda here. I might clean them all today, but I only have 2 of the foundations today. So I'll clean them, then I'll leave them lay on a couple 2x4s. And I'll come back in a couple days and with the foundations and put them in there. So the problem is the foundation is getting bigger than that. I'm gonna have to pour them here on site. I think I mentioned that earlier, because they're too heavy to move around. But I do have a 2-wheel cart. I can cart them around. I was able to bring my truck up in here. There's a drive area, gates down there. So anyhow, so what I got for cleaning, a variety of brushes. So these brushes are you could actually rub this on your skin, and it when it like so just to show you that they're not overly aggressive. And then we have a D2 cleaner. It's non-toxic, no scrubbing necessary. So it is the recommended thing to use for headstones. And then I have water to rinse stuff off. Then I have another 5-gallon jug of water in there. So what I'll probably do is, as long as I got water, I'll go ahead and clean as many stones as I can today, and then go from there. So that D2, like that, would you spray it on that, wait 15 minutes, lightly scrub it, rinse it off, and then you'd spray another coat on there, and then just leave it, and then it continues to work for weeks, and gets embedded in there, and then eats away at that the different mildew and different whatever stains, gets it off. So same way like that one there. That over there, you see it says fellows. There's 2 stones over there. Great great grandfather, great great grandmother. I'll probably go over there and spray some on there and just leave it set and see how that looks in a couple days or a week. So all right, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna clean these right now. So I started scraping off this the green build up there. The inscriptions here, and I still can't read that, so I just wanted to get a quick view of that on camera before I start cleaning it. I haven't used any water yet. I'm just scraping off the dry stuff. I just dug this headstone up. You can see where the name is right in there. It was buried all the way up to that, and the lawnmower has been running it over, chipping the heck out of it. And see the pieces of marble there. So I understand that mowing can be difficult, mowing these cemeteries, but they gotta do a little bit better job, a lot better job than running over. So this was all the way, this was buried all the way down here. Just this part was exposed, and I just dug around there. There doesn't seem to be a base, so I'll be making a base for that one. What I came over for is because this one here was over there, tipped over, and I think that probably started out where that tree trunk was and got shoved over there. So these are from 1865. This is from a lady whose last name is Hawes, Susanne Hawes. And 1865 is the date. You can't see the date on there, but I looked up the cemetery record. That looks like this might say Samuel. So this should probably be right where that tree's at, but I think it probably got shoved over there as the tree grew. She died in 1865, so this is 140 years ago. So I don't know if the headstone was put in right away, but close to it probably. So over 120 years, let's say, got shoved over there. So I dug around here to see if I can get this stump. It's rotted, but not rotted enough where I can get it out of there. So I will probably, I don't know where it started out at. I got a probe. I'm gonna poke around here, see if there's any more. But what I might do is I got a base made for this one already. If I would have known, I would have put a bigger base down, and then put both those into the same base, make a double base. But I'll put them, I'm gonna look up, see if they're husband and wife. If they are, I'll move this one over here away from that stump a little bit, and then put them side by side. Here's another headstone I dug up. S. Sanford. It's a Charles Sanford. I'll have to look up the cemetery records, see who this is and when they died. But as I was digging that one up, which was over here, I noticed there's something there. So I think there's another headstone down there that's laying sideways about 6 inches down below the ground. So what I'm afraid of. So originally I'm working way over there, and I made a base for that one over there, and now I'm going down a rabbit hole. I got this one and maybe another one. So what'd be nice if I could take these home and actually have with the garden hose and scrub them, wash them up really good, but I don't want to like take them out of the cemetery. If I knew the families, I don't think the families have been around for years. So shortly after Memorial Day, there's only a few flowers of people who came during Memorial Day. There's there's 400 graves, plus where I'm standing here was the poor farm, and there's like 250 graves in here. But there's not that many headstones, obviously. But so I think there's like 650 people buried here total, and out of the 650, there's only like flowers on half a dozen at the most. One over there, that one over there is a military one that's only a couple years old. Probably the last burial in here. So anyhow, gotta get back to digging. So as I was digging that one up here, I bumped into this one. Try to be careful so I don't like hit these with shovel. But you look at that, it's a pretty good size one. I don't know if this is the bottom here. It looks jagged, so that looks like the bottom. So I got a 2x4 over there. I'm gonna get that 2x4 and pry underneath there so I'm not scuffing it up. I already bumped into it a little bit. So I try super hard not to like nick at those or anything. You see, I didn't nick that one at all. I nicked that one a little bit, but not any worse than what the lawnmower did. Took the top of it off. So this one here is gonna be a little heavier, so I need to pry it up a little more. So I wasn't looking for this one, it just was buried. So I got a probe. I'm gonna come back and then check along here, see what else is there. If there's more, then I'll probably try to space them out evenly. If they're the same family, line them up center of this one here, and then go down this way. Having fun, really digging this new hobby. Little update video. So I got the mortar mixed up. I put a bed of mortar in that slot, and then I set that down in there. So now I'll take and I'll pack in mortar around the edge of it. You can actually read the inscription now. I'll post that inscription, the text later. I forgot a couple of things. Forgot to bring extra wood to prop it, to keep it level while it's setting up. I was gonna leave that overnight. I do got some 2x4s I could prop up there, but I won't be able to like screw them to anything. I got some little metal or plastic stakes I can use to keep those in place. And then what else? I forgot my regular level. I forgot a pair of rubber gloves, but luckily Jody, my wife, left some rubber gloves in the truck, so I can use those because I don't want to get this lime stuff on my fingers. So, alright, I'm going to get that pointed in there and take another picture and update when I'm done. A little windy. So what started out, Susanne Hawes, I think Hawes, can't hardly read that. There's no other inscription on there that I can tell, that I cleaned off. So anyhow, this section of the cemetery is considered, I think, the poor farm cemetery. So there's a lot of graves here, no markers. I don't know if these people were at the poor farm or not. I think I can figure that out, but not here standing in the wind. So anyhow, what started out is finding her stone, which was dislocated from that tree stump and pushed way out of whack. I'm doing my best guess to place it back where I think it should be. There's no records to check, so I'm doing my best. But as I was digging that one up, this one was buried all the way up to just very tip, and then the lawnmower's been running it over, chipping it up. So I dug that up to see what was under there. It's the same size as that one. That one is Samuel. So Susanne and Samuel, I don't know if they're husband and wife. I gotta like do some search on like familysearch.org, or I did look at the cemetery records. From what I can tell, it doesn't say if they're married or not. But anyhow, that was buried down to where that is. So I got that out. I'm going to clean that a little bit. But I got to get this one here. It's pretty well clean. Get that one set. So I got the base made for that one. It's over here. So I made this at home. Then I brought it so I can carry this around because it's only about 50 pounds or so. And so anyhow, as I was finding that one, this one here was buried out where you can just see the top way back underneath there. So I dug that one out, and when I was digging that one out, I felt something else, and this one was there under all that sod. That sod came from there. This was completely buried about a foot down. It took me a while to get that one out. I can't quite tell who that is. So if I got enough water, I'll probably put enough water on there just to clean it off a little bit. I'll clean as many as I got water for. I actually got quite a bit of water, so I should be able to clean these three. But actually, these three weren't on my list for today. Two other ones were actually on my list to clean up. So what I'll probably do is like clean them all, dig bases for where they're supposed to be going, and then I can probably just leave these leaning up against that stone, or do like I did this one here, put it on 2x4s so it's off the ground after I clean them, and then I'll make some more bases like this, and then bring them over, and then set that up. So get a lot of the prep work done today, then come over and I just have to do this part. Yeah, so yeah, it's fun. Like I said, really digging this. Here I am, digging this hobby. So this was basically buried under here. Almost the entire thing was under the dirt. Just very, very, very tippy part was out. So I dug it up, and it says his age. I can't quite read that. So there's the top part that's missing. So I took my thing here, and there's about this far down I hit something. So I'm guessing it's the top of this. So I'm getting ahead of myself here. So I measured this one out. I was gonna pour a concrete base for this one. I was gonna do it tonight. So I gotta get home so I can pour 3. The plan was to pour 3 bases tonight. And so I'm not gonna be able to dig that up tonight. So I gotta focus on kids used to have a game, talking game, and say finish one job before you start another. So I gotta finish up what I got going on here in case I get hit by a bus or something. People won't know what's going on. So this one over here, I don't know exactly where it goes because it was buried and leaning up against this one. So this last name is Wells, and this is Wells. So there was a stone here, there's a stone over there. So once again, I'm going to look and see who this person is, and I might have to see who this person is. And then if this person's the spouse of that person, then it probably goes here. And then, but that person definitely goes there because I just moved that. So an interesting tidbit, this Samuel Wells over here, he was on Ripley's Believe It or Not. There's a saying down here, said he died from a broken heart of an unfaithful wife. So, and he had children that he loved as his own, even though they weren't. So if you look Samuel Wells, Ripley's Believe It or Not, you'll find that information. So I might spray some of my cleaner on here before I go, let it eat away, and then clean that up later. So, alright, that's it.